Hello, guys. My name is Archibald, and you are welcome to the Integrity Circle. Today, we are talking about the ethics in PR and marketing, especially, and we are delving into whistleblowing and if it's the right thing to do. And today on the set, I have beautiful ladies with me. So, if you can mention your names,
Susan,
Sally,
Ella,
Sally and Ella. Okay, great. So. It's good to have you guys. Talking about ethics in PR and in the marketing field, what do you say whistleblowing is, basically?
Okay, so whistleblowing is basically reporting the wrongdoings of an organization. For example, a mining company trying to pollute a water body that a community is consuming.
Yeah.
Ethically, it is wrong.
Okay.
So that's when someone comes in as a whistleblower or blow the whistle.
Okay. Sally.
Okay, thank you again for the opportunity.
Okay.
Whistleblowing in an organization is reporting something unethical to a third party, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, a nurse works in a hospital. Yeah, and serves like illegal drugs.
Okay.
I see that, and I don't report to the supervisor or the one in charge.
Yeah.
I decide to go and report to the regulator, like safety regulator,
Yeah.
those high in authority.
Yeah.
It's not the right way. I feel like I should report to the supervisor in the organization before doing that. If there's no action taking place, then I further do that.
Okay, Ella, what's your take on that?
So when we talk about a whistleblower, it's someone stepping up to report unethical and wrongdoings in an organization.
Okay, so in our conversation, you are mentioning unethical. So in the PR practice, what are these things? What are the ethics of the PR practice that we have to go by?
Okay, so embezzlement of funds, wasting resources, lying. Basically unlawful act.
Yeah, just putting the public at risk. As a PR practitioner, you are supposed to protect the public. You don't put them at risk. So your ethical behaviors should protect them, not to harm them. Yeah.
Before you continue, I would like to ask a question. Would you say Anas is a whistleblower?
Well, I think, in my opinion, Anas is an anonymous whistleblower because we know him as Anas Arimeyal, but we don't know his face. So when an issue comes out, it comes out as this is from Anas Arimeyal, but we don't know who Anas is, so it's still anonymous. So I think he is a whistleblower.
So in the sense of whistleblowing, the thing is that you don't need to know the person. Once an issue comes up and someone sort of brings light to it, the person is a whistleblower. You don't need to really know the person. Maybe in the organization, something is going on wrong and someone gets a wind of it and maybe it gets into the media space or something. You don't need to know the person. Once the person has blown the whistle, now the attention should be on the issue and how to sort of mitigate it and solve the issue at the end of the day, basically. So you don't need to know the person. Anas is, yes, a whistleblower. We have other whistleblowers in the world. I don't know if you ever heard of WikiLeaks. That's a large whistleblowing on corporations, on countries and the wrongdoings they were doing. So you don't need to know the person. Once the whistle is blown, attention has to go on the issue.
But then you, assuming there is something going on in an organization, and then you tell an employee, like your colleague.
Yeah.
So with that one, the person knows about it, and then you issued a press release anonymously.
Yeah.
Maybe she might, or the person might tell on you that maybe you were the one that did it. So with that one.
Yes. So when you whistle blow, you just sent me on my next question. How do you do it? You have to follow the right channel, because if maybe you find out there's a wrongdoing, you tell your colleague, they might be part of the issue. They might be implicit in the issue. So you have to sort of know how to communicate. Maybe in an organization, there are channels of communication. With whistleblowing, you might have to go out of line of those channels of communication and make sure that whatever secrets, whatever ills or evils that are going on is brought to light. So you don't have to tell your friend. Go through a channel. Maybe you have to go to the media, speak to a police person, an investigative journalist to also take up the issue and also sort of investigate into it and find out the truth.
Reporting to external authorities.
Yes, you can. Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
Or internally too, you can.
Okay.
To a trustworthy person.
So the thing is, when you report internally and then you don't feel safe, or you see that they are not doing anything about your report, that is when you take a decision to report externally.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the thing is that having the confidence that this authority that I'm walking into is going to believe what I'm saying and work on it. Because you might whistleblow, but it can be killed. The story can be killed because of, corporates and other secret things that go on in the back end with corporations. So you have to know what authority I'm going to, where I'm going to, who I'm even speaking to, and if they are truthful or they have the integrity of upholding whatever I'm telling them and not also telling a lie on me and saying that I'm the wrong person here. So it's very important. Okay, so let's move on.
Yeah.
Nice conversation. So what will push you to the edge? Like, what will be like, this is the issue. I'm on the edge and I can't take it anymore. I want to blow the whistle on this issue. What do you think would push you to the edge?
First, I think protecting others.
Okay.
Protecting others. Let's say the example you gave.
Yeah.
It's wrong for you to put toxic waste in water bodies. It's going to affect the public.
Yeah.
So of course I'm protecting the public.
Yeah.
So for me it will be all about protecting the public and not caring about the organization.
Okay, so another point is working in an organization where, let's say, you are in the accounts office, and then you are embezzling money as an accountant. We are all working for our money. Everybody is trying hard to earn something, but you chose to embezzle money and transfer some of the money into your account. Yeah. If I am someone in that organization who sees what you are doing, and I feel like it's not right morally or ethically it's not right, I'll just report, because you are cheating the others. You might not even be doing your work in the right way, but some of us are working hard to earn it, but you decide to, embezzle money and then,
Ella, do you have anything to add?
So can you say abuse of human violation or labor violation?
Yeah, exactly.
Example is maybe you see your boss harassing somebody, then because as the boss, she's unable to speak up. So with that as a PR practitioner, you should be able to stand up and...
Yeah, so in an organization, there are codes of conduct, and everybody has to go abide by it. Nobody's above the law. But, sometimes when it's a boss or a director and a subordinate relationship, you feel like you don't want to talk about it. Yeah. But if it's becoming very toxic, or you don't even have to wait for it to be toxic, what is not right is not right. You need to speak to it. You might have to speak to your colleague or another person who is trusted, and they can take up that issue. It's sort of a very simple channel. Follow the channel in your organization and tell it out. For sexual harassment and other things, I don't think you have to come in the media and talk about it, no, but maybe dealing with it internally so that the person who is involved would advise themselves and let it go.
Also, speaking on that, frustration comes in. Yeah. You have reported a case internally and nothing is being done, maybe your supervisor or something, and nothing is being done about it. So you are forced to go and talk to the press or something. Yes. Release a press release, which is not the right way. But then you have already gone through the ethical process, but yet still there's nothing.
Yeah, so one of those channels will be Shraj. You can go to Shraj. They will deal with that issue for you. Yeah. So basically, they will take up your issue and fight your fight for you. Basically, sometimes I think we are in a hurry to come out and say something, but there are organizations that could also hear you up and take up your issue, because whistleblowing sometimes it's quite dangerous, because people have lost their lives in the process of whistleblowing on or telling on their companies or corporates and other things.
And there are laws that protect whistleblowers.
In Ghana, I don't think those laws are that active.
So.
They don't really work. And there's this current issue of a parliamentarian who mentioned that some bags of cocaine and cash were smuggled into the country, and see how he's being treated. If it is true, let's see how he's being treated. What if it's also not true? But the way we treat people who come out to tell the truth or whistleblow on the issue is very important, because in other jurisdictions, you'll be giving police protection, other things, just to make sure that whatever investigations, whatever truth that has to be found at the end of the day must be done clean, and nobody should be hurt at the end of the day, basically. So I want us to also look at this. Before a whistleblower would come out, what should really inform them? What should inform their actions before they really come out?
Well, they need to understand the situation, and then have an evidence. You don't just get up and say that, oh, this person is embezzling money in the company, so I'm just going to report. You need to do your findings and weigh the pros and cons of the situation before you take the next step.
Okay, Sally.
Do you have support?
Yeah.
Because as you said earlier on, it is very dangerous. You can be killed as a result of whistleblowing. So do you have support? Are the governments protecting illegally and all of that?
Even internally?
Yeah. You can even lose your job. So, yeah.
Ella, what's your take on that?
So, what she said.
Yeah.
Before you take any action, you have to get enough evidence to prove what you are saying. Because if you are asked, what's your evidence, you don't have meaning, it's a lie.
Yeah.
So always you have to provide evidence to back your
for whistleblowing, evidence is the main thing. If you don't have evidence, you'll not be taken serious. And in the practice of PR, I know that as we go on in our little businesses and the companies we work with, issues like that will come up, and our ethics must also come at play. Truth telling, being accountable, and integrity, very important. So you should find some strong evidence to back whatever issue you want to raise up with a company, an individual, or a corporation that is doing the wrong thing. If you don't have evidence, I think that will be misinformation, and we know that misinformation and disinformation is also another issue when it comes to this. And sometimes someone will be jealous or envious of a certain role, but want to spew out lies about someone. So it's very important. Your ethics, very important, and that's what would really make your evidence or your whistleblowing truthful at the end of the day. So, guys, thank you for joining us. It's been a very insightful time today. Yes, and the second session also kicked in, and we'll also get to understand if it's right, and the security, the cost that comes with whistleblowing. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello to our viewers once again. We are still the Integrity Circle, and we are still on the topic whistleblowing. So the first part of the discussion was basically to understand what whistleblowing is in detail. And at the second part, we are going to talk about the safety bit of it. But before we get into that, one question that I wanted to ask is, from the first part of the discussion, we could see that there are some risks involved in being a whistleblower. So my question is, does the whistleblower have to be anonymous? Does the whistleblower have to be anonymous? Yes, Delali, could you tell us what you think on
Right.
that.
It's based on the person who is the whistleblower, because we understand that whistleblowing is bringing out very crucial information that may be damning in an organization or in some sense. So if the person who is bringing out the information decides that, oh, this information I'm bringing out, I don't want to be the face of it. I don't want to be the person behind this information being brought out to the public or being investigated, the person can opt to be out of the space. So the information is brought out, but then their person is not attached to the information.
Okay,
So, yeah.
so if I understand you clearly, it's solely dependent on the person.
Yeah.
So you can have a situation where we have the information out there, but we don't know who
brought it out.
Who brought it out, and we can have a situation where the person also reveals their face, like I'm the person who is bringing out this information.
Well,
Yeah.
For me, I would like to stay anonymous if I am whistleblowing. I wouldn't want my face out there because of someone might kill me.
For safety reasons.
So for safety reasons, but within an organization, do you think somebody might go as far as trying to harm you for
yes.
bringing
course.
out?
Of
No,
course.
because at some point when you whistleblow on, let's say, you whistleblow on your boss for doing something that is maybe unethical or illegal, the possibility that your boss can have ill intent towards you is high. And maybe the person might not outright come and tell you that I'm going to do something to you, or I'm going to sabotage your career. But
Yeah.
since you are still going to be working under the person, well, that is if the person is proven right or wrong, there could be times where in the chain of command, there are going to be some restrictions, like your boss might in turn not give you tasks. And ideally, it's not going to be a great working relationship between yourself and the boss because you whistleblown on your boss.
And your boss.
And if in the turn of events that your boss gets maybe sacked or his rank gets reduced, if he's to meet you in town or see you somewhere, he can't, out of the hatred for you in the thought of, so this particular person did this to me. If you are to come out to say you are the one who did it, so this particular person did this to me, he could keep some sort of hatred to you and maybe do something
So
bad to you.
do you also think that whistleblowing could lead to like some blacklisting within the industry that you work on, in as much as it is very ethical? Whistleblowing is an ethical issue, so yeah, it is very ethical. Do you feel like it could lead to some kind of blacklisting? An organization might say that, you know what, this person was here and this is what he or she did. They want to tattle on the boss and now the organization has gone under. So how sure are we that if we bring him to our side, he's not going to do the same thing? It is very much an ethical issue, but could it lead to something like that?
Yeah, it can. Because someone might see it as, okay, this person did this thing. Then when he or she comes to my company, he's going to repeat the same thing. And probably the CEO or whoever is in charge might be doing something which we know is illegal. You understand? So that person wouldn't want such a person in his or her company.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would bring me. I want us to talk about channels, the whistleblowing, the whole procedure. Are there some channels, like is there some design for you to go about a report, so you can just meet somebody, an authority, and say, hey, I have some gist. Do you know what is happening? This and this, and just tell the person, and then it is considered like you've whistleblowed.
Well, just in the sense is very funny, but yeah. So I think, in some sense, it mostly depends on the whistleblower one, and then it depends on the sensitivity of the issue too. Because if the whistleblower decides, okay, I have this content of information, and I believe if I share it, it would help the company because it's going to be putting out some illegal fires that have been set, then the person might decide to go to someone they trust. But then mostly I would advise that mostly before you do a whistleblowing, in some sense, you'd have to seek legal backing. Because in as much as you might think, oh, I'm trying to save the company, I'm trying to be the good one to point out the illegal spaces, there might be a possibility that, as we said previously, someone might decide to take it up on you and do something against you. So if you have legal backing, it could help in some sense if, let's say, you're blacklisted or you're sacked because of you whistleblowing. Right.
Okay. So I want to ask you, Sewa, do you think there are some channels that you can go through as a whistleblower?
Nah, you have to. For me, if it was to be me, I'll report
So
the
how
police.
are you going to report? Who are you going to go to? That is my
first,
question.
I'll do an investigation. Like for me, I'll make sure maybe what I'm saying is right before I'll go to the police to go and report the issue to.
Okay, so you're saying the police can be
Yeah,
one
for safety
medium
reason, yeah.
for safety reason, depending on the sensitivity of the issue. So the police can be one, because mostly when we hear about whistleblowing or there's a whistleblower, it's mostly through the media. So I'm sure somebody might be out there and thinking that, whatever information that you have to go to the media to report. So I want us to have some clarity. Is it every information that you need to go to the media, or there are some?
The reason why I'm saying I'll report to the police is because, like, in case something happens, they'll get to know, say maybe it was because of this and that.
Yeah.
That's
But then what if it comes to matters within an organization? Probably your head of finances embezzling funds. Do you need to go to the police to go and tell the police that I work at ABC and my head of finances embezzling funds?
Now maybe I'll talk to someone in the company and see.
Well, as for me, I'll just go straight to the CEO or someone, and not face to face. No, not face to face, but we all know that the CEOs have emails, and I'll just send it directly, maybe with a different email account, so that you wouldn't know it's coming from me. For me, that's what I'm going to do. Oh yes, I want to do it. There is evidence. I'm sending the evidence to him. You understand?
Okay. So in that sense, because somebody is saying I'll go to the police, somebody is saying I'll go straight to the top to tell the CEO. Shouldn't there be some measures put in place within organization that if you have any sensitive information of this wrongdoing happening, you can, because you see, when you go to some places, they have this thing, suggestion box or all those things. Yeah. And those things don't work, because personally, I wouldn't go and put anything in the suggestion box, because sometimes they don't open it for ages. You go and there'll be paper stuck outside, or it's all dusty and there are things. Or who knows that who I'm even going to write a report on is the person who is going to be in charge of taking that information. So I'm going to report my head of finance for embezzling funds, and I'm like, okay, let me go to the HR. And maybe the HR is even in it with the person. Don't you think there should be some structure where all this information will be like collated, or you can go and it's like a safe space? Is that not a necessary requirement?
No, I think it is. And I think in some organizations, the actual policies that protect whistleblowing. If I'm not to digress, I think there was a time back where I was in an organization and there was a DEBA. They asked everybody to come and talk. And HR came out and said something about sexual abuse. Okay. And in that sense, they were like, if, let's say, you have been abused by somebody in the organization, you can come forward and tell HR, and your identity is going to be protected. But the person is going to be confronted, and maybe there's a possibility of maybe a punishment or a confrontation. But you, the person being harassed, you are protected in some sense. So if we are to relate it to the idea of whistleblowing, in some sense, you're trying to put some fires out. So if you're trying to do that, I think it's just right that the person who is whistleblowing is protected. Unless, of course, maybe your HR is also in on it, then, you are going down the hole.
Yeah. Okay, so then let's talk about how to address matters concerning whistleblowing. Because you are putting sensitive information out there. And in this part of our world, there's one thing that is, once your reputation is tainted, once you are accused, it's just an accusation, but then to us out there, you have done it with or without evidence. Even if investigations are held and they said that, it's not even true, you are innocent. Once that kind of image or something like that has come out, it's already a taint on your reputation. So how do we go about matters of whistleblowing when somebody reports those sort of information, or basically whistleblowers? How should it be addressed?
For me, I feel that there should be some assessment. Like, we need the police or any other person to look through the matter to know if it's really true or not, because some stories can be fabricated. You will never know. So
okay,
yeah.
so what would you think?
Investigation.
Yes.
So
Right,
you also
and
agree to
the
the investigation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because the investigation kind of makes sense, because as you're trying to whistleblow, there might be a possibility that you, the whistleblower, are just trying to throw someone under the bus. Because in organizations, that we know that there are people who are there not because they want to make any progress, or they are there to just destroy people. And even though we are all here to work and make our money, someone is there and he has eyed this person. I saw you driving a Vela the last time. How do you have a Vela? I don't have a Vela. You know, it can breed some sort of
internal politics within organizations.
So discontent can lead to that. So if, let's say, someone wants to whistleblow on somebody in the organization, I believe the right channel is to investigate whatever has been whistleblown. So let's say if the person is in good content, the person can take whatever they've gathered. Okay, so I've gathered like 3 documents on Akwesi, and Akwesi has stolen, let's say, 20,000 from the organization. Fine. If I believe in what I'm saying and I believe it's true, I can be able to come forward and say, okay, HR, take this. You can investigate it with other evidence I've collated and brought to you to verify what I'm saying, to say that, okay, fine. If Akwesi actually did this, then we'll take these actions. But if you don't want to be investigated as you share your information about whistleblowing, it makes the rest kind of shady.
Okay, so basically, the most important thing is investigating to find out if it's the truth or not before you even take actions or measures. But in the meantime, investigations are going to go on. There are instances where it's like, I go and report Sewa that, I have information on Sewa. Sewa is doing something like this. And once it comes, the first step will be like, okay, so we received this information and we would like you to step aside or step down for investigations.
Do the matter.
It's still investigations is happening, but is that fair?
To have the person step down?
Yeah.
I believe it's reasonable, because if by some chance you are to say that, somebody did something and the person doing something has not been able to make any reasonable doubt clear, the person can step down. And if during the course of the investigation the person is being proven to not have done it, then the person can come back and reclaim their position or maybe go higher.
I want us to, when we talk about whistleblowing, there are some famous names that come up. Do you know any of them? There is Edward Snowden. There is
Frances.
Yeah, there's Frances.
Yeah, there's Chelsea.
Yeah, and there's Chelsea Manning.
Yeah, Chelsea
and
Manning.
If you look at Edward Snowden and then is it Chelsea Manning? There are cases involved revealing sensitive national information
national security.
Of national security. So this comes on the broader prospect that even a country can also do wrong. But then if you look at their cases really well, they were charged with espionage, I believe, because it is said that they revealed information that is under national defense or something like that.
Yeah, even Chelsea was sentenced, I think, 35.
She was sentenced. So is it to say that when it comes to matters involving a country as a whole, whistleblowing is a form of betrayal to your country, or what is the context there?
So if I am to speak on it, I would say that whistleblowing entirely is an ethical standpoint. It's not a political or a legal standpoint.
Okay.
It's ethical. So mostly it's just, so when you look at it, is it right by you? Do you think it makes sense? So if it's ethical, in your concept, it's ethical and maybe you get charged and sentenced, I believe in the eyes of everybody, you'll be seen as a hero. You'll not be vilified. Unless, of course, you are being vilified in the eyes of government and you are not proven right in some sense. But I think ethically you are good.
Okay, so there's ethical and there's legal when it comes to that sense.
But I don't agree with Delali entirely, because it is ethical, but when it comes to the people, some might see you as a traitor and some might see you as a hero or something, because so it's not in favor of everyone. It won't be in favor of everyone. Probably they were doing it thinking they are doing it to favor the public, but some people wouldn't agree to it. Like they wouldn't.
But
be
shouldn't
cool.
you be patriotic as a citizen? Why do you have to reveal information that is classified, all in the name of being ethical.
No, because if you look at Chelsea's issue like this, it was about war crimes.
Okay.
And war crimes, on a legal sense, they're actually wrong. Yeah, because they were done in a space where some things are not supposed to be done, but then they were done because, we believe we are all at war, we can do some things, and it will be covered by the war. But then, legally, we were putting civilians' lives at risk. And if a civilian life is at risk, and I feel like, oh no, my ethics will not allow me, my morals will not allow me to stand back and look at this and just turn another eye, bro, I would rather speak on it. And I believe Chelsea did the right thing by coming out to talk about it.
So ethically, but legally?
Legally, it's wrong, but then because it's of national security, I don't think anybody's going to come out and say, I work for the government and I feel like they've done something wrong and I'm of the government, so they should do. No, nobody's going to do that. But Chelsea went out of the way and stood on her ethical standpoint and made her case.
Okay, so they were charged. Then the risk involved, you could even go to prison for being a whistleblower.
She went to do 35 years.
Wow, 35 years.
That's a lot.
And she's a hero, Charlie.
She's a hero in your eyes, but I also think in my eyes, it's a bit of, she was a traitor.
Well,
You see, as I said,
She was a traitor because if it's issues, it is classified. That is the whole point. It is classified. Ethically, I could agree. She was trying to, but my thing was, did the nation need to know that information?
Yes. Because if it has happened once, it could happen again. And if it keeps happening, it can ripple effect and spread into bigger issues.
Okay, so then we've talked a lot about whistleblowing, trying to understand it, and we've basically broken it down, looking at the risk and all that involved. So my final question is, if there is somebody out there who, after listening to us, realizes that, I can actually go and report certainly, I can whistleblow, what kind of advice would you give to that person? Or what do you have to tell that person watching right now who has that information that they are sitting on because they fear retaliation or fear of just being bullied? What do you have to tell that person? Delali?
Media. See, this is my name is Delali. See, if you are sitting on, bring it out. See, me, if you bring it out, see, if I have my father's money, I'll give it to you so that we fight them. Because right now, Charlie, the country is too hard to be still on something.
Delali said
bring it out, my guy.
Thank you very much for watching the Integrity Circle. And before I go, I also tell you that there are laws and there are acts to protect you, the whistleblower. It all depends on you. If you want to stay anonymous, you would be protected. If you want to have your face out there, seek legal advice and then come out with the information, because being a whistleblower is not wrong. You are not a snitch like some people would call it. You are doing the Lord's work. Thank you very much for watching.
I am Derek Kwabena entry of Integrity Circle. It was quite unfortunate that I couldn't join my colleagues in the studio session as planned to have this insightful and ethical conversations. But here we are. I'm blessed to share with you the popular case studies that arose in the area of whistleblowers, as my colleagues has already hammered on. When you talk about whistleblowing, those are brief moments where someone risks it all to speak the truth. And Daniel Ellsberg delivered, the man behind the Pentagon Papers in 1971. He was a former military analyst who leaked top secret documents revealing how the US government had mismanaged public about the Vietnam War. It was a turning point not just in the war, but in how the public viewed transparency and accountability in government. Fast forward to the 1990s. Jeffrey Wigner, a former Tobago executive, a guru, he blew the whistle on how cigarette companies were intentionally manipulating nicotine level to keep people addicted, despite knowing the health risk. So Jeff's story was so impactful, and it inspired the movie The Insider, one of the popular, most streamed Netflix movies that I'll urge you all to watch. You will see how Jeff carried out his action the confident. In the healthcare space, we have Dr. John Kopczynski, a former pizza rep, exposed illegal marketing practices for the painkiller Bestra, and that's in the healthcare. His action led to one of the biggest healthcare fraud settlements in US history, over $2 billion. And doctor reminded us how profit can sometimes be placed above the patient's safety, and how vital whistleblowers are to keep that in check. Everywhere we're in a world that people prioritize money over health, and Dr. John helped the US. Then there's Chelsea Manning, another female, a former US Army intelligence analyst who leaked a huge cache of military and diplomatic documents to WikiLeaks. Her list included shocking videos and reports from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, sparking global debate about war, transparency, and ethics in government. Finally, Sharon Watkins, who raised internal alarm about the massive accounting fraud at Enron. Her memos to the CEO helped reveal how the company was hiding billions in debt, the Enron's business ethics and financial regulations. All these people delivered. They've saved the youth, they've saved government, and they've brought officials to their toes. And I will say today, their name remain in books. They are forever remembered. Thank you.